Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us at To God Be the Glory Ministry for Sunday School. We're going to continue with Casket Empty. Today we are on E for Exile. I do encourage you to check out our website at www.tgbtgm.org, where you can check out our beautiful website as well as give through our PayPal. Additionally, you could also give through our Givelify app by searching for To God Be the Glory Ministry at 1313 Caps Hill Mine Road. It is definitely a place I want you to encourage you to check out, enjoy it. It is a place you will never be the same again. Additionally, in continuing with Casket Empty, just a reminder that it stands for creation, Abraham, Sinai, kingdom, exile, temple, expectation, Messiah, Pentecost, teaching, and yet to come. And the purpose of Casket Empty is to tell the one story of redemption from Genesis to Revelation. In exile, there are mainly three major prophets that we're going to discuss and one minor prophet in Obadiah. The major prophets we're going to look at is Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Daniel. And the minor prophet we're going to look at is Obadiah. In 586 BC, Nebuchadnezzar marches in, destroys Jerusalem, and destroys the temple. But we're going to back up a few years before then, and there are three separate deportations, meaning when Nebuchadnezzar comes in, on three occasions he carries various people from Jerusalem into Babylon. These three different deportations are in 605 BC, 597 BC, with the final deportation once again occurring when Jerusalem is destroyed in 586 BC. In the first deportation in 605 BC, he carries away Daniel into Babylon, and we'll come back to Daniel. The second deportation is in 597, and in 597, this is when Ezekiel is carried out into Babylon. The third and the final deportation is when Jeremiah, in 586, when Jeremiah is in the city of Jerusalem when it is physically attacked and utterly destroyed. So Ezekiel is one of the major prophets that we're going to look at. A few years he has a vision before about Jerusalem, about the temple being destroyed. He sees God, symbolically his presence, leave the temple, meaning there is no longer a covering over Jerusalem. And Ezekiel also has a variety of visions where he's really talking about Israel. One of the most famous of these occurs in Ezekiel 37, where he's talking about the valley of the dry bones, which basically is the resurrection story about the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. As we mentioned, he's in the second deportation, so he is prophesying in the city of Babylon. Now, Jeremiah, once again, he's actually in the city of Jerusalem when it is attacked. And Jeremiah has a very strange call on his life. He comes from a priestly family. There's this famous that God called him from the womb and he knew him. And even before all of that, that he had him preordained for such a time as this. And Jeremiah 29 is very key to us understanding what is going on. Very famous chapter 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans of peace, not of harm. All of this is occurring as they are in exile, as Jerusalem is being destroyed. So keep that in mind when you're reading that verse. Additionally, before then, Jeremiah is telling the people that when you are carried off into these places to build houses, to make families, to have sons and daughters, essentially what God is saying through Jeremiah is, look, y'all won't be here for a while. And also going back to Ezekiel, Ezekiel talks about the curses of the Mosaic covenant that we see in Deuteronomy 28 these are being exacted upon the nation of Judah. And so Jeremiah 29, he really is talking about this beautiful story of resurrection and how there's going to be this new covenant where God is going to give them a heart of flesh, and the covenant is going to be on flesh instead of the covenant being written upon stone tablets. The other beautiful thing is Jeremiah is known for the Book of Lamentations, in which he really discusses the heartache and the pain that the people are feeling as they are watching Jerusalem be destroyed and the temple being destroyed. Daniel is carried off in the first deportation, and him and his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, better known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were carried off into Babylon. And Daniel has this awesome testimony of resisting what is known as assimilation, meaning their Hebrew identity being reframed into a Babylonian identity. They push back against that. Daniel is known for the gift of dreams, and his interpretation of dreams lands him in being second in command, roughly, or really high up there under Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar has this awesome and amazing dream about the statue with the head of gold, chest of silver, mid-torso, midsection, that's of bronze, and then there might be some other metals in there. Then there's bronze and clay that is down at the feet. And these are representing 4 different kingdoms: the kingdom of Babylon, the kingdom of Medo-Persia, the kingdom of the Greeks, and then the kingdom of Rome. And after about 70 years, everybody is returned back into Jerusalem under the edict, during the rule of Cyrus of Persia. Obadiah also prophesies during this time. He's a minor prophet, and his prophecy is against Edom. And his prophecy against Edom is for the reason that when all of this is going on with Judah, that Edom sits back, they do nothing, and they actually rejoice over their calamity. And God just pretty much says, your time is coming next. So this is during exile, of which, similar to Adam and Eve, Jerusalem and the Hebrews are kicked out of the homeland, and they are forced to go into other places. Some are down in Egypt, some are in Babylon, and some are in other places. What is interesting during this time as well is not everybody comes back into Jerusalem when they can. And this spreads the Hebrew identity and the Jewish identity throughout what is known as the ancient Near East at that time, and they spread into other places. This is important because this continues to grow and to develop, which is why, for example, when we see that Jesus is going down into Egypt, there is already a very much known Jewish presence there because it's been there since exile. So all of this is going on during the exile period, and the Jews are forced to ask these questions. Now that there is no temple, now that there is no land, what do they do with the Torah? And they're really trying to reshape and reframe. And then eventually they do come back. And the question is, what happens when they come back? Come check us out next week for Temple.